Asura.
Good wind.
I don't think there is a standard wind deck that will play this. Activating all the forwards is one thing, but it doesn't activate all the characters. Saying that they can't be bounced is not relevant enough because it's only obviously good against like water or something like that. But and then can't decrease the power. I don't know. Anybody a fan of this one?
No. It's okay. The other Azura just is way better, and it's the same cost. The other one just does more. Maybe in the right meta, you want to start playing this, but you have to see how the meta grows.
The way her pose is, it looks like she's rotating. So, Adele. Okay. Connor, you were a fan of this one.
Yep.
What do
generates
you think?
5 CP. It's good. Good card.
I
agree.
I think it's good. Because it's mono wind. I don't think that mono wind gives a crap about it. It wants to do everything in main phase 1 as it is, and the combat phase is like should be square and like free for it to attack, and the main phase 2 it doesn't care about, and this just makes a main phase 2 where you can't do anything. So I think this is a rotation card.
Well, if you think about that, in mono wind, say, how many times have you gone against it and they've had to attack with their Atomos just so they have enough CP to get back in the game?
Sure.
This essentially does that the same as Atomos, just not sacrificing it.
But it's the same sort of thing. Like we didn't see like the Kane from 22 see any play, which gives you extra in the and that had haste and first strike and activated 2 characters. So it was you had different ways around with it. I don't know. Like
there's a difference between activate 2 and activate all.
Sure.
One thing I want to point out is the fact that it's not an auto ability.
Yeah.
You do it on attack and then pay, so you can't actually AMI this effect, which is actually quite interesting.
How many of these do you play in your deck as well?
Oh, one. One.
Yeah, I don't know. If you only have to play 1, I don't know if that's reliable enough. I would love to be proven wrong. I need to see this in action to really believe it, I think.
Well, the thing is about one-offs. I was going to say, thing is about one-offs in Mono Wind, you've got Moogle 11 a lot of the time, and Choco Mog and things to sort of guarantee you can pick which bits of your toolbox you need. So this at 1 seems absolutely fine.
I mean, if you could play something like Furor again, this is just search for any card on attack, which is not nothing, I'd say. But again, with Moogle 11, search anything on attack. It's also another counter on Chocolate. There is definitely some good tech bits you can do with this attacking. Shame we can't activate Cactuars and ping Dadaluma with this card, though. I will say.
But I just think I don't know if there's space or need for it.
I think there's enough tap effects you've got on a lot of your backups as well that it's still worth doing.
Maybe.
It activates Warrior of Light.
It activates.
It also
activates Journey.
Galate.
Oh god.
This is a common card that says choose 1 forward cost 3 or less until the end of the turn. It gains 1,000 power, and if it's dealt damage by your opponent, it becomes 0 instead. Nope.
Your princess.
Why 3 or less?
This Varn I think is really cool. 4 CP, 8k, it gets a crystal, and for 2 crystals you can deal 4,000 damage to all the forge opponent controls. And for S you can double the damage to anything that Varn does. So that's either combat damage, that is ability damage, and it is player damage. I think that this might. A lot of people really liked the Crystal Cyan that was a legend a few sets ago, and I thought it was rubbish. And I've never liked the card, and I don't think it's very good at all. But this to me reads this sort of the same, but slightly better. I don't know. I really like this thing. Anybody want to tell me it's rubbish?
Doesn't do anything with casts, so I just want to see play.
Well, it's not necessarily just a wind card though. It's not a mono wind card.
What deck does it go in then?
Sky
Yeah.
Pirates.
No.
But then you're playing.
When you're playing this Varn over what Varn?
It's because
You've
this
got-
is a rotation card.
You've got 2 good vans to
Well,
play.
what Sky Pirates are in rotation at the moment?
Well, if it
The
wasn't in
ones from the
rotation,
last set.
if it wasn't in rotation, it means that you don't have access to all the other stuff, which means that you can play Crystal stuff and more generic Wind stuff, and you're not playing Storm.
Sure.
I like it. I think there's stuff that you can play with it that'd be really interesting to do. But sure, it's got anything with board wipes on it should be looked at. I think.
And it is repeatable though. So if you can spend like 4 crystals in one turn to do AK, and then that by itself isn't too bad. It isn't like once a turn.
That's why I think it's it's not terrible. But I just say I like it. I think it's good.
The investment to do that feels more than like any other board wipe, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
compare that to spending. If you spend 5 CP with a Psy, or 5 crystals with a Cyan to do 9k, it's not too far off.
Venat, she can turn into the forward version of herself. Playing backups and forwards of the same name has never been a thing in Final Fantasy TCG's history, and it certainly won't here, I don't think.
Nah.
No.
Cancels a summon for 2 CP tap, which is too expensive. There's no win deck for it.
Lael isn't seeing play, so this won't see play
Sure.
in that regard.
Yeah, no. Silver Dragon. Oh, this is an interesting one. So,
I love this.
monsters other than Silver Dragon you control cannot be chosen by opponents' turns or abilities. I would say,
Disgusting.
are you choosing monsters very often? I think the problem is because most of the monsters in this set will be forwards as well. This still just dies to Ixion.
Yeah. I mean,
And
It's just
Shantoto.
applies to all the standard board wipe stuff kills it off. It is interesting though because they will be, if you could make that deck with loads of monsters in it, suddenly all of your forwards and selectable as well, right? Because if they're monsters too, it's quite an interesting protection to have if you can stop the big board wipes. I think it's really cool.
It's nice having extra protection on, say, your Atmos. Especially if you want to turn it into a forward and attack with it. Your opponent, you can still Amaterasu, because Elixion, but they can't pay an extra.
That is a relevant point, I think. But I don't know if this goes into like an Ice Wind or a Mono Wind because it doesn't do enough just in generically. But that is relevant, knowing that, like, again, against Lightning decks, for example, you cast Ramu and you kill Atmos and Rosa in one hit. Like, you have won the game. And if you can't do that, it's slightly better, I think.
But at the same time, you play this monsters deck against, say, Mono Ice or Mono Fire, what do? They just look at you going, well, I can't kill anything. Or I can't, I'm Dilling freezing this over and over again.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of matchups that it can do really well into at the same time.
I mean, this itself is hittable, which is...
It is a 9k body.
Yeah, which is a 1 CP hit for fire. I think the card. I've defended this card a bit, but overall, I don't think this card is going to see play because of the high standard Wind has for cards. I mean, the card is very well statted and does a lot of good, but for what else you could play in Wind instead of this, it's probably not going to.
In monsters, it is interesting though. So, again, as a monster, not as a Wind card, quite possibly.
That's how I think most people are looking at it.
No, I think if you look at this as a 2CB target for Realm, say, would you rather draw or this?
Yeah, or Atmos or something like that.
Yeah, I'd rather just draw more cards to see more monsters and go wide. So.
I agree. I don't think this does quite enough or anything, but we'll see.
I think that depends on the existing board state, right, though? Realm's never going to grab this first, but later on.
Yeah, but if that's the case, you can't pay Wind.
This could be one of as a target for versing Ice, but other than the one-off for that scenario, I don't see it.
No.
It's monsters other than Silver Dragon, which is a little disappointing.
Samavira. This is the bad one.
Yeah, this is
Very bad
voluntary salmonella.
If you're sacking 2 monsters just to kill 1 monster is pretty bad. Even if it's like Ozma, which is still probably not going to play. Choose 1 forward, cost 5 or more, break it. It's nice, but that's... What's the biggest hit for that at the moment, do you think, maybe? Like, I suppose, is it worth sacking 2 monsters to kill your demon or something like that? Maybe? I don't know.
If you're sacking monsters that replace themselves, like that Soul Cage thing, that's okay. But
it's still totally fine. And I suppose I would say it's not bad, but it's totally fine. But it's definitely not the best of these.
Worth it. Yeah.
Soldier candidate can't be targeted by abilities. It's not this
The worst
one. Yeah, the worst of these as well. Tyro. Oh my god, we were so afraid when this was spoiled with the artwork, and it's fine. As a hero, it's fine. When it hits the field, choose 1 card and you break its own. If there are exactly 3 elements among the backups you control, add it to your hand. So it means it goes in 4 color, but you're not playing this in 4 color as it stands.
It has to be. I was going to say it has to be exactly 3, but that's actually surprisingly flexible. I mean, it could be 2 of one, 2 of another, 1 of this.
You can't search it though, so
no.
I mean, you can search it. Yeah, but what if you played the Earth Shantoto, the 5-drop one? I mean, in an Earthwind deck with it. But then what is your third element in that deck? I don't know. But I think this is searchable because you've got the next card Mog, which can activate Mog 11 to search. So I think there could potentially be something with this card. I honestly don't hate it, and it's. I mean, technically, it doesn't say you can't choose this guy as well, so you can infinitely recur him if you wanted to.
Are you going to sleeve this in Earth over Tyro, the other one?
Yeah.
Well, the other one should be banned, to be honest with you. So
when that one's gone, maybe.
Like, this reads as a draft card, not even like L3 to me.
Yeah, I agree. As a hero as well, I think this could be a rare. But the other side of this artwork is not bad. Dr. Mog, who's a Dr. Moogle. Search for 1 job Moogle or card name Moogle, add it to your hand, and then for dull, you can choose 1 job Moogle or card name Moogle other than Dr. Mog and activate it.
Unfortunately, this is a forward, and it is a 5k forward, so immediately dies to everyone's favourite. What you have liked.
Sure. But it's done its thing, right?
Yeah, it
on entry.
Searching
you search yourself another backup.
Another Mog 11S, or a backup, anything like that.
Any of the class Moogles. So this is whatever
any of the colour fixing.
And relevant as well, that activating the Moogle is there's the Mog 6 from early on, or something that says for tap you can draw a card. That's seen play before as well, so lots you can do with this.
So 3. 3s are quite relevant at the moment.
Yeah, well, definitely as well. Yeah, I can. Well, yeah, I think this definitely could see play in so many
Playable off Gigawall, get in.
You can't. I was nearly said that, but you can't play it in Gigawall because you can't have a wind card. That's and the only searchable target would be the Mog 6, the warrior one that stops search, and if you had it the wrong way around because you're only playing it as a one of, you can't play this in Gigawall. But unless there's like a mono Moogle Gigawall, which you're probably not going to do. We'll see. I think I can see us seeing tournament play.
This will be played in Icewind.
Yes, for definite.
Of course.
Ninja, with artwork more looking like Second Life than it's ever looked like before. I think Ninjas are sort of moving away from wind a little bit, because now like the Edge limit break, which we'll get to, is a lightning card. It's fine. It's fine. I don't like a 2CP backup with this much text that does something, because it means it's hard to turn 1. Sure. I'm not a big fan of this one. Anybody else?
It's not going to be sleeved.
No.
There's way better choices, even in a deck that is going for unblockable.
It would need an action ability which removes it, I think, for my taste.
Yes.
Null. Oh my goodness, this Null is good. I like this one a lot. I really do. So Warp, for a 1 wind on Warp 3, he has haste and fair striking at the beginning of the attack phase. For each of your turns, remove 1 Warp counter from Null for each category 13 character you control. Character as well, so it includes backups. And if
They've
that's
really been liking that effect recently, removing warp counters based on categories.
not all of them are made equal.
No.
This one's very good, and there's another one that is very bad. This, however, I thought this was a legend. I didn't realize it was a hero. It doesn't have a lot of text, but it's
just Nightcare Haste First Strike. That's all the card actually is.
And the fact that it's 5 CP as well, which means that it's got relevant. It's harder to remove it based on cost. It's good. It's the commando that the Sarah backup needed.
Except you want to play this first and have it on the field so that the Sarah backup gets her effect.
Yeah, but if you've managed to play Nora, Hope has played Lightning, and you've still managed to warp that turn, that's a huge turn right there.
That's massive.
As soon as you have 13 backups, this is always just a 1 CP Nike Haste First Strike, which is kind of silly.
This is definitely something I'm a really big fan of the Lightning starter Null, but this is something that I really want to play around with this. I think this is, it's really good. I like it a lot.
Wind Lightning, Wind Cat 13 is definitely a thing. Speaking of which.
Oh, Heroine Hope. Yeah. Sat on the steps there asking if you got any more, mate. So reading through this earlier, when this was in the spoiler season, I completely missed the action ability. And I just thought for entering and paying X to search and play any category 13 characters, obviously you're just going to play Lightning straight from this or something like that. But the fact that you can keep doing this every subsequent turn is mental. Absolutely mental. I don't know about the full art.
With this as well. Don't know if anyone's noticed, but there are indeed Cat 13 characters for every colour of Warrior of Light, just in case anyone was wondering. So,
great.
Take that what you will.
To be fair, the Earth ones aren't great.
Oh, so we're going to have Lebro, Amadar, Nora, and who do we have for water?
Yarg
You got the light.
Young Rosh. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Not broken. There we go. So,
I'm just saying.
Man, I might do it as well. Oh my god, Warrior of Light with Lightning. That's horrible.
You could be playing these cards. Your parents could be like, "What are you doing?"
I sort of like that.
You got Saz for fire instead of Lebro, which is Search of Fire Summon, not even that bad. You've got Amadar.
You could actually play Darge instead.
You can search for a Lightning. Or a Snowbird, I think.
That Amadar can get you the Lightning backup as well.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you've got Nora in Wind, which searches this card anyway, so you're probably playing it in this deck, so it's not even bad. It's not even bad for a couple of backups. It's genuinely
there's just no backup engine off of it. You basically need to build hope.
Yeah, but it's sure it's the memes at the moment, but let's there might be something to that at some point. So.
Let's hash this out.
Good card, very strong, repeatable. Love it.
I'm just envisioning some kind of multicolor Cat 13 deck where Bunny Veltz is the payoff.
Yeah. Oh, Bunny Veltz would be well good for it. I'll do anything to play that. Minor. Some people have strong feelings this one. I don't like it because I think that the backup miner is too good for ninjas. But whatever, I guess. This still searches ninjas and it still searches backups. I don't know. In a ninja deck, I would rather play Yugiri than this, I think.
Having read the backup one grabs you a ninja as well. Yeah, I think you'd rather play that one.
And this one obviously does the same thing. And it's interesting that you can have the protection effect. It's just you would need a lot of reactivation, I think. Which ninjas could fall
Yuffie
into.
gives you.
Yuffie is one of them. I mean,
Yeah.
you could run 1 CP Opus 2 Azura in any wind deck, so you've got reactivation choices.
I think, I don't know, maybe it's too expensive for my taste. I think I'd like this at 3, but not at 4.
Yeah, it's a 7k 4-drop EX. Yeah, it's just very weirdly started.
But doesn't Edge make this 3 CP?
You're not playing Wind Edge anymore. You've got to play the Lightning LB.
Nah,
That's
so
an LB, so you're fine, right?
you do play the Wind Edge, but as soon as that Wind Edge dies, that's when you can play the Lightning Edge. I still think you play both.
Maybe. I think
It's
it's an
obviously not
interesting
in your
build.
hand.
Next is Mateon. Oh god, I'm going to get rinsed by Final Fantasy 14 players.
It's
Job,
obviously Matty Ian.
mate, Ian.
Matthew Ian.
Put them in the break zone. Activate all backups you control. Draw 1 card. Use this ability if your opponent, neither you or opponent controls forwards. No.
Nah.
I will have to wait for the entire Job Entelechi deck.
That last line, is so restrictive.
Yeah, the only times you'll ever play this is turn 2 and 3.
The only time
So-
you'll ever play this is in sealed, and you've got nothing else. So, no, sorry. Yuffie.
I don't know. It's quite... No.
Connor, you were a fan of this one. I wasn't. I will say straight up, it's called Yuffie. End.
I say draws cards and is job ninja. So,
Sure.
good card.
I don't hate it. I actually don't.
It's not once per turn.
It's
Do you think
Exactly.
you play this over the 5 CP one though?
You can play both.
This is- Yeah, this is the new ideal S fodder card because
Oh,
in a pinch you put this out.
I think this is probably the one, you S effect with, but I don't think you ever run this to play it.
I agree.
Well,
Dice to Warriors
well,
Light
the thing
Pings.
is-
There we go. Done.
Oh.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. The other one I think is just too important. There's probably, and even if you're going to combo this with the LB Edge, where you play this and then all your ninjas can swing and deal massive damage, and then it means that you can draw a bunch of cards. But if you're going to have won the game that turn, then you don't need the cards. So
You don't necessarily need to, right? Because this has unblockable, so you just play the Edge, make this unblockable. That's 7k free,
the
draw
other one
one,
has Doom of the Living.
which requires 2 CP plus S, plus the 5 CP originally.
I don't know.
I think this lacks haste as well.
I
It's
would
a-
agree
it's a
with
key
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Not with Zangan, I didn't. But,
Exactly, yeah.
let's play this turn. Just turn 1 Zangan into this.
Zangan?
Oh wait,
Win-
Zangan doesn't affect that, right? Zangan's Tifa.
Yeah.
Zangan's Tifa.
No. There's
Oh,
what,
Was
uh,
it Red 13?
there is a card that gives it
Godo.
something. I think it's
Godo.
Godo, that's it.
First, or does it give first?
It gives 1k and so it doesn't give
First
haste.
strike.
Godo gives 1k and you can tap it to give first strike, yeah.
No, okay,
Oh,
never mind.
okay.
Never mind. All right. I was trying to cook. I'm sorry.
Luso. I think Luso's really good, and even in my wind could probably see play. But the fact that it plays any 2 CP or less card from Break Zone means that it costs 2 less, and you're going to get extra. It's good. Kills monsters.
So-
It's really good.
I believed. I'm just going to correct you. The first line of text says when Luso enters the field, chooses a darn, and you break it and play it onto the field.
Yeah, Fire Wind one. Lovely. I've always been very happy with the Edgar backup. Yeah, So more of that, please, especially in wind of all things. Yeah.
It costs 5 instead of 3.
Yeah, but you're playing it from breakdown instead of
I
hand.
know.
And that's also a really good point. Yeah.
It's gonna be a problem. I agree.
It's called Luso, which is the worst thing about it. But the fact that you can break this whenever you want.
It's crackable, yeah.
Do the other.
Well, not if your opponent's not playing monsters, you might be a little buggered.
Kill your own Atomos.
Possibly.
Does it need the target?
Yes.
Yeah. But we'll see. I think there'll be some creative usages of this one. I would definitely file this under get your foils. General Leo. Oh man, what does this one say about Zidane?
Get it from your deck.
Play one character and 2 from the hand of the field. So 3 CP, 7k. Play Firewind Zidane in mono wind as well. So lovely, great, cool.
My card is still legal. Let's go.
There are. You got to ask yourself in things like this as well. It's like, okay, what's the worst thing that this can do and still be acceptable? And like playing any 2CP backup or an Atomos for free or anything like that is still obviously the worst thing about it is it doesn't count towards your cast count, but like it's still pretty horrible on setups. So yeah.
Even in Wind Ice, like there's good things you can cheat out in that.
I was going to say the first effect, 3 or more characters of cost 2 or less. That is such a ice wind thing that it can do very easily anyway. You know, most of the backups are 2 cost. Atmos, Zidane's.
So then becomes a 9k untargetable by summons.
Yeah, just why not?
Rough. Yeah. I think that's
really strong card.
Undoubtedly see play. Yeah.
Go back to General Leo a second, real quick. You could turn 1, play a backup, pass, come back to you for your turn 2. You could play General Leo, get Atmos out for free, play another 2-drop backup then as your second cast, and then suddenly General Leo's online and both of those backups reactivate, and that is a really impactful turn 2, because then you can just go on top with something else then, like another.
But then you then you have no cards in hand, so you can't use that. Like there is no point in this card unless you're playing dual colored Zidane. That is the only thing you'll ever play off this. So maybe you build a Luso and this deck with 3 Zidane, and that's the use case for them. But I don't see any other reason to play this or Luso.
Okay, and now we're moving to Earth, and we've got Dark Knight. Thank God this doesn't deal you damage, but it just makes something big, which is nothing. So really, this is...
Could make everything big.
Yeah, it could make everything big. No.
2 CP backup you can't play in turn 1. Gotta love them.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd rather just play Mart, right? From your LB whenever you need it than this.
Yeah, but this is a backup.
I'd rather play anything than this as a nerf backup.
I think he's had a severe accident down there as well, which should get seen to. Ignis, oh man. It's called Ignis.
What a name.
Oh.
They're finally doing retainer backups, but like they need better effects than this to replace the forward anyway. At least
I can think of 3 Ignis I'd like to play before this one.
Yeah.
But like, oh man, if this was called like Iris or something like amazing, sure. Or like, we still
was Gladio.
We still don't have. Yeah, that's well, maybe not. If this was called Prompto, or no, maybe even not that. Like Dave, we haven't got Dave yet.
I mean, I will say this is another searchable backup off of the Dual Element Noctis, which doesn't suck.
And for L3, that is legit. But for this, for standard, no.
Who wants the fun of talking about this one?
I'm really annoyed with this.
I think
I'm not
really-
upset. I'm just disappointed.
when
I was
Vincent
really
enters the
excited
field,
when I saw this.
choose up to one forward and up to one backup. Break the former, and if he entered due to warp, also break the latter. So you can't even pay 7 for it.
Yeah, it's pretty rubbish.
And it's
there are some fun
it's
interactions.
forwards.
Yeah.
It's forwards. Not even. This is support for the soldier candidates for some reason.
I was curious what they were going to print this set to go with it, but Civets was not what I thought they were going to go with it. Because it just doesn't synergize.
Warp
Like,
6 is
I
too
still-
high.
Cloudpod doesn't go through enough forwards in one turn for this.
No.
Not in
So
one
this is-
turn. But
So it's a
Cloudpod
2-3
can go
turn
through.
card.
Oh,
I still think there is potential with this in CloudPod. I don't know how high the potential is, and CloudPod is way too smart of a deck for me. But I think if you can go this into break it into like the 8-drop Sephiroth, the Opus 1 Dark one, being able to break 2 backups straight away can set some decks really far back, and then you can then break that Sephiroth into like a Leviathan or something. So there's like a snowball potential there.
It's a long way to go with no
Well,
interaction. though.
yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, again, I'm not smart enough to build the deck, but I can see potential. But
would
now,
this have been absolutely busted at Warp 3?
Oh,
Yeah,
it would
I
have
think
been
it
too
might
busted
be
at
too
Warp
strong,
3.
yeah.
yeah,
Would this have been busted if it just had both effects anyway and you just could pay 7?
no, that would have been good. I reckon.
Did it need to say forward?
Sure. Yeah, play warp this first and then start playing your backups in like a Fire
Yeah.
F7 or Avalanche or something like that. But man,
But, you know, Avalanche might be a way for it, because there was one build of Avalanche where, towards the end of its reign, where it would be just all Earth backups and you were playing all of the one-cost things as quickly as possible. Maybe in that type of deck, because that deck can also run Cloud Pod and pod things up into other things. Runs a lot of the same stuff. That might be the way to go with it. I don't know. I don't know if Avalanche is good enough.
like Null, you can
there is
pretty
that-
reliably do that turn and says characters. Like,
I mean, the last Cloud Pod I played was reliant upon the Avalanche Barret. The one that, you know, if it enters, if something has left the field this turn, you can
oh yeah.
tap it and break, and then you sort of find a way to get it back to hand or whatever, or pod it away for something and do it again. You know, there's that kind of deck would work for this. And then obviously you put Kadaj in there as well, because the chance of you doing this at the end of their
No,
turn.
you can't, because that podding thing requires turning Barret into Light Aerith.
Yes, there we go then. Yeah, Light Aerith is too crucial in Cloud Pod.
But we're now talking about decks that haven't seen play because they're too weak for about 3 or 4 sets.
And it's not going to be this one.
Yeah, and this doesn't really buff it at all. So
No.
I'm curious if it means we might get some more Cat 7 stuff next set.
Sure.
Well, there's always going to be Cat 7 stuff. I think there's
But
been
like
Cat 7
a
stuff every
main
single set.
design things to go with this.
But like we won't
Yeah.
get we won't get Rebirth till next year now as well. Like, so
Yeah.
it'll be a while away.
the only good thing about this, it looks cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
this looks
That's
alright.
quite sad.
It's not my favorite Kobayashi. It's fine. This is a card I love. I'm going to say that much. This is probably one. I think for me personally, one of the most interesting cards in the set.
It's
I
just
love
the
the
Paul
fact
McAvoy seal of approval.
this does get my seal, which means it's not going to be good, but I love it. It might be good. Who knows? Like if it said forwards, utterly useless, unplayable. But like it's a good element for Warrior of Light. It's you know, again, it's a DFF, so it's searchable and gains crystals and that sort of thing. But he can play off-color backups, so that's solid.
Damage 3 effect though. Oh boy,
Well,
really
sure.
gets that card up to 11.
It means that you can AMI it. There's a lot of AMI interaction windows for this, which is, you know, sort of rough.
That
But
is very true.
even as your like turn 1 play, that's not bad. Really nice setup card. I think this is what like the Opus 6 one wanted to be years ago.
I still like the last set's 4-color Warrior of Light, or 4-drop Warrior of Light, the water one.
Yeah, that's
the EX
really
search.
good.
I mean,
Really good.
I mean, that has an S effect. You might even be able to run both
Sure. Yeah.
in the right deck.
I like it. I think it's good. There might be this. If there's gonna be anything with standard units, this could make it. Like, I really wish that the soldier candidate, the ice one, said Dylan Free's character. Like, it wouldn't kill it because Lastwell says that, for God's sake. But like, that would be nice if you could pay it off with something like this. I don't think that would still be too broken, but cool card. Like it.
My worry about this is this could be going into Mist Dragon, which is still seeing lots of play now.
Yeah, sure, but that's a big waste of it, for that. So I suppose it did cost you 2 backups, or at least, or it doesn't have to necessarily be backups, but that's cool stuff. And again, if it's a Warrior of Light, so you can also play like Opus 2 Lunif to give all your forwards haste. There's stuff there.
Just send the 1 CP backups.
Yeah.
You're only paying 1.
I think it's great with the crystal backups, to be honest with you. I think being able to ramp up crystals like guaranteed very early on, and it plays the 3-cost ones as well, which isn't too bad. So you can like only run like 2 of the 3-cost crystal ones with draw you cards. Guarantee those as your first 2 backups. Whatever.
Solid. Yeah.
This one isn't though.
It's cool.
Oh no.
Search for and you can search for Kirin. But also it searches for, was it Halthodius that's in this set as well?
Yeah.
I'm curious if this will create a deck with this and the other one.
Oh, well, it searches for Ingus.
It searches for Ingus, that's what I was going to say, yeah. Which is probably best case.
Or Montleonis.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I think there's room for this in a mono way.
An 8K
Shadow Lord.
Yeah.
I do wish they said 5 or more, but that had been too wide, maybe.
Probably.
I think that would have been too troublesome.
To deal 8k in that as well, like especially if that's like Ignis that you're playing, that's going to be like massive. But
recur 1 and kill 2 things.
Yeah,
maybe this is fine with the Wind Wall that draws you cards when you play characters of 5 or more. But I don't know. I don't think I'd want to waste a turn going 4 for this, playing Ingus. Pass.
Yeah, but that's still drawing you cards, searching, and like that's searching for Ingus. That's Ingus searching for something else, and you killed a guy. If not more, with whatever you search from that.
For 5 CP, that's not terrible. You've got 2 bodies out.
I will say compare this to like the Olga Brandt for the 4 CP EX spells. That's sure it's a 5k, but it searches a forward that costs 5 or more, which is what's the only Earth character that isn't a forward you're going to be searching from this might be Shantoto, but if you're playing this, you probably don't want to play a Shantoto after it anyway. But that card is squishier, but it's an EX burst. So how much is the EX burst worth, and how much is the second ability on this worth?
Play whatever you search off of Star Sybil.
You know what? The Earth does have Aparuru and Minfilia.
Yeah?
Sure.
I guess if you're playing Aparuru as your 5th backup and killing something, that's okay.
It's getting you knacked for your Warriors of Darkness.
Yeah. Oh, God. Don't tell Cloutman.
It can grab you like Leo, the backup Leo and stuff as well, which gets you another CC in play. I think there is potential.
Gladiolus. Moving onwards. Golem.
Moving on.
Anybody for Golem?
Why have they decided to do reveal top 3? It's just not enough.
It is add 1 card, which means that you can definitely get something.
But you can only get something if there's a forward on the board.
Yeah. Well, if you add a forward, then you
you've got to choose one forward as the initial thing. Yeah.
There is no Earth deck in Standard that would play this, and maybe L3 would be hurting a lot more for it, which would be fine. But you are not playing this in Standard.
Nah, even if this had EX, it wouldn't be played.
I would agree completely. Gog Magog.
Excuse me?
I really, really like this one.
They need a dinner first.
When Gog Magog is put from the field into the break zone, you may remove one monster you control from the game. When you do so, play Gogmagog from your break zone onto the field. Nah, I don't. Well, you're removing a monster that you control from the game.
Yeah, but if they've
Jameson
not got any
maybe,
effects other than entry, it's not a problem.
If they should have to do something for that, like say turn off a blocker or something, surely, or do a fight or something.
It's a very hard to kill 9k, and it comes back untapped, which I think is the big thing to point out with this.
Yeah.
I think people were giving Lich a test run when that came out in 21. This is the same size body.
Calbrainer from Opus 5 was, that came back here and there again a couple of times, and it's basically the same thing. It's fine, I think. I don't know if removing a monster is good enough, if I'm honest, but we'll have to see on that one.
But I think putting a monster would have been too good if you put it in the break zone instead.
Because you're playing
trigger
Mirror
it
in
either way.
Earth anyway, and you're making something like unkillable, is that not like fine anyway? It's not better than Zombie, and that like gets back Mirror.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Jesse, I want the full arts, but the card is probably no.
It's called Jesse, man.
Yeah, I know. If this was called Biggs, this would be really, really good.
It's just like the effects on it aren't even. They just don't do enough. You can make your LB Cloud 10k. Like that's as high as I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I know this is such a minor thing. Actually, no, never mind. Actually, don't worry about it.
What is it?
No, go on.
No, it's completely unrelated. It was just wrong. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
All
Even
right,
as a search target, this is bad because the other Jesse does the same thing but does stuff.
yeah.
So
So one thing is that if you reactivate this Jesse, you can do the effect multiple times.
But how are you
that's
doing that?
probably it. Yeah, exactly. Just pointing that out there.
Okay, so of anything remotely relevant, so Devil's Advocate, Opus 14 Cloud making that thing even bigger is not irrelevant. However, the other one makes it cost 3. So
Yeah, it was about the only card I could think of that you might want to play this with, but when is that card last seen play, and is this going to be the card
don't even.
which...
That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
That. I mean, you've also even the forward Jesse. I think is still pretty solid of just getting you a cloud.
There are 4 cards named Jesse, and this one's in last place. Yeah. Shantoto. Oh, Jacob, your favorite character. You go for it.
Oh, this card is unbelievably sick. Actually, such a nice card, but it's just called Shantoto. Like, there's no way of ignoring the fact that this card is unplayable in most decks you want to play it in, because you're losing out on your best board wipe and your color fixer.
Well, actually, you say that. It is a forward, and the summons it puts aside are ready for the whole game. So if you can manage it in such a way where you play this first, then the other one, then the board wipe. I mean, okay, that limits your style quite a bit, but that could actually there could be a case for running both. I think
the thing is though is that relatively speaking, let's just so realistically, this card is more likely going to be played in like a Earth Water Chaos Arc deck, because so you can move your arcs and get them ready to go to cast cost 0 when you get your chaos down, whatever. That deck is quite slow, and the thing is, you generally, as a lot of decks, you spend like 3-4 turns setting up, and by that point you're gonna want to probably Shantoto anyway.
Do you not think it's worth with the name clash, like just trying Matoya?
So the problem with Matoya, for a start, it costs 1 more, which isn't ideal, but that's kind of somewhat negligible when you're paying that much anyway. But the thing is 1, you're not removing from game, which is very important in this era.
But you play Mist Dragons as well, like.
Yeah, but it allows you to not have to play Mist Dragon straight away. You can kind of like possibly delay the Mist Dragon. I get what you're saying though, and yeah, sure, that would still that on its own, I think, makes it a bit, you could consider it, but the fact that backup Shanto 2 is a color fixer, I think, is a big thing when we've got limit break decks.
Sure.
Yeah, sure, you get Tyros, but I'm not a big fan of Tyro in Chaos Arc anyway, again, because the deck is so expensive. And the deck has good enough backups without Tyro, I feel. I don't like playing Tyro in that deck. But yeah, it's like, I don't see myself wanting to spend an entire turn spending 5 CP to do this, and then eventually, being able to get the payoff when I'm more set up to do so. There might be a use case in certain matchups where, say, you're against another control deck, this card might be able to bring you back because you have that late game tempo. But if overall, is this better than, like, say, spending 2 CP for a Garnet Warp?
I think this cast card, you're supposed to choose like Assuras and just go off.
Yeah, that's not bad actually. I could see this being played in Earth Wind when you're just playing it Stormy. I mean, again though, you do want to play in Earth Wind Storm. The backup Shanto to the 5-drop is quite good in it. But yeah, being able to keep Asuras ready to go for a massive Storm turn, that ain't bad.
I think I'd say
imagine...
I would probably say I really hope you're wrong on this one.
Oh, so do I.
I'd love to see. This is one of those things that I'd just say, like, prove us wrong entirely, because this card is so cool. As again, a massive fan of Man in Black, who basically played that since it released. More of that is not a bad thing, and there might be an Earth Lightning use case for it still. There's so many. There's so many decks that this is good in, because we've just said about Earth Water, Earth Lightning, Earth Wind. Even playing this in Mono Earth there's so many good targets as well. Like, it's definitely, again, if you play this in, like, if you manage to remove an Amaterasu just to put the fear in your opponent at any point still, or even 2 Amaterasus, even worse, like, that's still something not to sniff at.
You start to pay with correct cost. It's not horrific because you've got Tyro in your list, but
the thing I find interesting about this card is it's the first one, I think, that specifies during the game you can cast them.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to there's a Darn where it just says you can cast them as you own them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine we've been playing that Zidane wrong all this time. You can only actually cast the cards on the turn they're removed.
What if it said during this match, so you could do it in a best of 3?
Maybe that's what Zidane actually does then, because Zidane doesn't say this.
It means during this tournament. Maybe you just carry on and take those cards to the next game.
Just say 2 matches ago, I stole in the max. Cast now, yeah.
I'm more curious if this is the way that they're going to word all of these future cards like this.
It's probably just a change in wording.
This soldier candidate is a fight spell, and you've probably got 2 standard unit forwards in your break zone, which means that it's going to be 8k. This is not bad. Like, this is solid. There's definitely, if you can move to combat and your Warrior of Light gets this back and you kill something, that's fine. A kill spell on a standard unit is, like, really rare. So again, being able to do that, not too bad, I don't think.
8k in standard, not in standard, in, like, sealed and that, I think is going to be really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the better ones.
Narasimha. Again, a fight spell on a 2 CP, and the great thing is it doesn't do anything else, which means you can sack it quite happily.
And it's a one-way fight spell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Common. Jesus. Solid.
I mean, you're probably playing this in a Gao list, right? And then Gao makes this an 8k anyway.
that or any of your monsters from this set that want to require a sacrifice, no problem.
I think, I do think this card isn't terrible, but I think we've got so many monsters to choose from now. I think the monsters that are chosen and put in decks have to be a cut above, and I'm not sure if this is there.
Nah.
I think it's close.
Your opponent's, well, I don't know. Is your opponent going to Amaterasu this? You know.
If you're playing some of the monsters as well that require you to sack off another monster, I think this is one of the ones you get rid of.
Yeah. I think it's solid. It does have a lot of requirements, I suppose, in that, like, you know, you need a forward, your opponent needs a forward, you need your forward to not die, which
Your
means
forward
that,
needs to be bigger.
so, like, you can't just play at any point. You have to have something that you wish to kill to even do it. But, you know, I think it's pretty good. Hythlodius, 6 EP, but costs 3 if you control Emmett Selch, and Brave, which means you can search it from Nimbus. And for tap and put him in the break zone, him and Emmett Selch into the break zone, you can shuffle your deck, then reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, play any number of characters that you find among them onto the field, and the rest of them into the break zone.
Yeah, it's a meme.
It's total meme.
I want to see
strong.
I really want to see what this becomes, but it's just not going to be reliable in any fashion.
The ceiling
I will say,
is really
we just
high.
played 2 cards.
We saw
this
with the Arden the other couple of sets ago. Like, it was fun to see, but it was just never going to be good.
What other Emmett Selches do we have? Is it just the 4-cost starter one?
There's an ice one,
there's
right?
one in this
That
set.
lets
There's a
you...
couple
I know
of ice
there's one
ones.
in this set.
Yeah, there
I'm
was.
thinking,
I thought
is there...
that's the one that searches 6 costs that we saw earlier, right?
Yeah. But like,
Yeah, there's
That one
two,
searches this.
there's 2 ice ones.
Yeah.
the fact that this has to survive a turn before you do the effect is lame.
Yes.
It's just, is there one that costs like 5 or more that you could play in like a versatile style deck?
No, they both like the ice ones 3 and 4.
Cheap,
Yeah.
That's unfortunate because I think that would be kind of spicy. But
Like, huge ceiling to this, but also the floor is right next to it. So,
If it gets off, like, you should win that game.
well, no, because the 2 of the cards that you're going to have are backups that you already control, and the other 2 are going to be like.
And it's yeah. I don't know. I think if you get it off, you should win that game, but you're never going to get it off.
You should, yeah.
would be nice, wouldn't it?
Where are we to? Bryanak, this not a monster. Okay, fine. 5 CP, 9k, remove 2 Earth cards in the break zone from the game, and he gains 2k in Brave. And for Crystal and Dull, you can choose one forward, deal at 9,000 damage. This is a common.
Yes, another
Yeah.
card of all time.
Prompto.
Not bad in a pre-release.
Prompto's not bad. I wouldn't really be against it having an EX if I was honest, but
Monster Recursion on a backup. Have you seen that before?
It's really good for
Doned?
Earth.
I guess.
I think this could. I mean, if there is going to be a lot of monster decks this set, and Earth being the way to play them, this card might see a lot of play. Actually,
yeah, definitely. And like Prompto isn't really a name at all. So this is absolutely fine. This is a great card, I think.
If you're playing retainers, though, I still think you want to play the wind one just for color.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. But you're not playing monsters in that. Well, I suppose it's yeah, that's nice. Choose one monster, break it, or get one back. No, fine. Yes. Yeah, this will see play 100%. Rieg. When he enters the field, you select one monster you control, put it into the break zone. If you do so, draw 2 cards. Not for standard, but for sealed pre-release. Maybe L3, fine.
I got that Behemoth from a few cards ago. That would probably be the thing you would do. Something like that. Something that's already done its thing and is on the field waiting.
4 CP 8k that draws 2 cards is not to be sniffed at, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Get rid of your Cleone. It's 3 cards.
You don't want to get rid of your Cleone.
No, you don't get rid. But that's why it's multiplayable. You can play multiple Cleone and get rid of them with this,
Oh yeah.
and still have the one there on the field.
Oh,
Oh, Lael,
that's an idea.
made a meme of this one, of just the roller coaster that this one takes on, where it goes, when he enters the field or attacks, gain crystal. Awesome. 3 crystals. Not sure about that. Choose one forward or monster, break it. Okay, cool.
Wow.
And then you only use this ability while he's attacking, and he's a 2/5. Oh, wow. You know,
Lucky.
it was good, then it was bad, then it was good, and then it was bad.
Costs the same as Lady Lilith to use as effect. Lady Lilith steals, and this just kills.
Only when he's
With the
attacking.
condition of attacking.
He has to attack on a 2/5. Yeah.
Which
Okay.
means he has to survive as a 2/5.
Yeah. No.
Not happening.
It's monster.
If he
is the
does-
only extra thing, but
If he does, he'll generate 2 out of the 3 crystals because it'll be on attack and entry.
Sure,
But
but
it's
but it's
still
so
you're
very
just gonna
slow.
play cloud. Yeah.
Regis. Oh man, this thing's cool. I'm surprised that this isn't a legend, if I'm honest. But when Regis enters the field, choose one category 5 forward of cost. Category 15 forward of cost 5 or less in your break zone. Play it onto the field, and at damage 5, it does it again.
I just don't think there's enough good targets.
Oh, I don't know. Getting back.
Kingsglaive, right?
Yeah, well, so you've got Nyx, you've got like Coffee Noctis, you've got
Retainers.
you've
No,
got
Noctis and
Ignis.
Ignis. I think
Ignis,
are
so
only 2
many.
targets.
but
Well, you can, if it's presuming damage 5, you play this, you play the Wind Earth Noctis, and then play the Gladius.
you've also got what's he called? The Kingsglaive, the fat one that's his best mate that gets a Nyx back.
Libitus?
Yeah, that's the one. So that, again, like there's so many good choices with this. Like,
Well, Libitus gets any 15 back, but if you get a Nyx back, you activate 2 backups.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's like for 7 CP playing a forward, like playing a forward of cost 5 and being able to do it again, man, that's crazy good. I like
Job King.
Yeah, well, again, very relevant.
Be cheaper
I
than
think the
Cost
cost 7 potentially puts him out of this.
It doesn't though, because it
It's a
plays a
2
5
CP,
CP
okay.
forward.
No, I get that, but
7 CP for 2 guys is pretty good, and maybe more than that still, or removal, or like there's yeah. I think this is. I'd be surprised if this didn't see some sort of competitive play.
There's a high ceiling on him at the very least.
I mean the backup one's so good for that same set of that same deck idea though.
What backup?
Regis.
What, the search backup?
Yeah.
No,
CP search for 15. It is a shame you lose out on him, but
it is, but
We
this
got
is
Cindy at least.
fine. This is absolutely fine.
You can have,
Especially when the stale costs 5.
I mean, what you can do is just run Claris and Kolka, and you can search Radius off of Claris or Kolka.
Do you know what? Vestale isn't
Um,
something that should be sniffed at either. That is a really good point.
Yeah, I didn't think of that one.
But yeah, I think in
Vestale
some
is
form or another,
huge.
this will see competitive play. I wish you'd get that little bit of hair down. The rest of it's so well combed. How did we miss that?